What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of the Apple TV Plus original series, Dark Matter. This will follow episode 3, which is called The Box, and is once again directed by Jacob Verbruggen. Okay, so after last week's holy crap moment, we got a little bit of details going into this episode. There's information about what this device is. Not a whole lot of information, but enough information to know that this box has not brought people back. What that means, it's not entirely sure. Of course, we have Jason 1, which is in this universe. And of course, you know, he's dealing with the fact that he's in a universe that he doesn't recognize, or he recognizes, but he doesn't, it's not his own. You know, we have Jason 2 in another universe kind of taking over his life, which is not what I would call the most exciting, but it is definitely like, what if Doppelganger 1 was confronted by Doppelganger 2, and then Doppelganger 2 took over Doppelganger 1's life? And, you know, it becomes that type of thing where, Jason 2 is basically converting himself into this lifestyle, this world, while he's doing his behind-the-scenes missions or whatever. And, of course, we see him once again take advantage of the Jennifer Connelly Daniela character, who, of course, is dead in the other universe, which he doesn't realize yet. But he does everything in his power to kind of play or kind of get by the skin of his teeth the world that is inhabiting this kind of, family style that he's kind of integrated with. And what I mean by that is he's looking up pictures, he's listening to stories, he's doing research. There's a point where he looks through Instagram to keep track of which friends are having for a party. And then on top of that, he's like getting getting Jason 1's son a new board for a skateboard and stuff like that. It's really interesting thing to see. It's not the most, like, what I would call exciting, but it's always fun to watch the anti-character of the kind of, the clone of, or whatever you want to call the doppelganger of the other character, kind of like integrate them, like, so once again, integrate themselves into this world. And once again, he takes advantage of Daniela, and he does some things that are very kind of despicable in a lot of respects. And I think, Joel Edgerton, who's playing double duty here in different roles, or not different roles, but the same character with different kind of personalities, is a really interesting thing to see, because when we have, of course, Jimmy Simpson's Ryan character come over, he apologizes, and you see like kind of the disdain on Jason's face, or Jason 2's face, and just kind of the nature of like how that plays out. And of course, the Jason 2 and Daniela have sex later on, and it's a very kind of, how do you get this character to put himself into this world, and what are the kind of steps you do to trick the person that, if they start seeing something really off, there's going to be some kind of weird kind of play to it. So, once again, like I say, he's watching video. He's, he finds in a black box in like the study where he's watching a movie of the family playing Clue. I couldn't, this might be something you guys have to say in the comments, but it looks like there's 2 birth certificates. One was for, of course, Charlie, I guess Charlie, or maybe it's Daniela. It's not really specific. It's just, it's like life certificate, birth certificates, stuff like that. So it looks like there's Charlie's certificate, and then there's another person's certificate, like it said Maximilian or something like that. Does that mean they lost a kid? What does that exactly entail? Is that the whole kind of, twist on the Daniela 2 character, where she lost a baby or she gave up a baby? I hope they kind of like, they lean into it and they kind of explain it, because you're watching these like papers that he's looking at, like I said, with the baby's feet and like the social security card and the birth certificate and stuff like that. And you see the expression on Jason 2's face, but you're not entirely sure what exactly is going on there. And once again, it's probably in the book. It probably explains a lot more in the book, but we haven't gotten to that point. And once again, I'm not reading the book, so I'm going off what the TV show does. So it's a little confusing in that aspect, but everything else is perfectly all right. I mean, when they get to the very hard sci-fi material, when it comes to the box itself, that's a little more easy to understand than what this birth certificate situation is. So I'm sure we'll learn a little bit about that later on. And then you go to like the other universe where Jason 1 is currently at, and you have Daya Okuni's character of Layden, and of course you have Dawn, who's the Marquita Brooks character, and they're just not seeming like to be good people. They actually kind of figure out that this is not their Jason, and they get into explanations about it, about like, we see video of Jason 1 coming out of the box, and it starts to unravel that there's something truly amiss, and so they're wondering what exactly did he do to Jason 2. And they beat Jason 1 up. They physically assault him. This Don character is a very brutal character who does give her comeuppance a little bit later on in the episode, but they start explaining the box, and what the box is this like kind of device that teleports people or does something, but 3 people have disappeared, and Jason 2 went in there, and then Jason 1 came back. And so it's a device that's like a portal or wormhole or some kind of contraption that allows these characters to hit into alternate universes, like a Stargate in a lot of respects, maybe something like that. I'm not entirely sure. It's they try to explain it the best they can without giving out too much away, because when we get to the end of the episode, we find out that Ryan 2, I guess we'll call him Ryan 2, devised or created this serum or substance or whatever that they had to inject themselves in, because apparently the brain can't comprehend, it can't dispose, I guess they call it dispose or something like that, what is going on when the device works. So therefore they have to inject themselves, and then it's insinuated that 3 people didn't inject themselves, but the Jason 2 did. So that's really interesting. I also, one quick thing, Jason 2 talks about how he lies to Daniela 1 about how at one night he was at the bar and he almost got hit by a vehicle. That was Jason 1 who got almost hit by the vehicle. And of course you see Jason 2 in the car and stuff like that. So he's basically lying through his teeth, kind of manipulating Danielle in a lot of respects. But once again, it goes to lengths of trying to explain without giving us too much about what exactly the box is doing. When you go in, you're in there for 3 minutes before you can reopen it again. Only one person really has gone through. And nobody's really entirely sure what is going on. And then the Alice Braga character, who is Amanda, devises an escape plan after we learn that Ryan 2 was basically, it sounds like he's been killed, from the look on her face to what Jason 2 sees, and they escape. Layden and Don go after them, and of course they make themselves towards the box, and they get in the box and they inject themselves, but not before Don's fingers get cut off from the box door closing. And it's pretty graphic. You see the fingers on the ground and stuff like that. And once again, they only have 3 minutes. They have to make sure they have disappeared. They only have 3 minutes. And it's a really intriguing premise, because it reminds me a lot like a Primer or Time Crimes, but much more Hollywoodized in a lot of respects, because Primer is very obtuse, Time Crimes is very low budget, which Primer is too. And this feels like it has a lot of Apple money behind it. Of course, the creator Blake Crouch is given a lot to work with here, but it's still not Constellation or Foundation when it comes to the really high budget stuff that Apple's putting out. Well, once again, they inject themselves with whatever serum that they inject themselves with, and they wake up, and they're in like this long hallway that is, something out of like Cube or something like that, some horror situation that they have no idea where they're at. It's a really fascinating thing to see, because you're watching these 2 individuals like look down the hall, think of like, the hallway down in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey or The Matrix or something like that, and it's not entirely sure what that means or what that entails, or if they're stuck in this like hellhole or whatever. It just, what the box is not fully explained, and that's not his journey for the 3rd episode. It's just to kind of ease us into some of the qualities and some of the technobabble, some of the sci-fi-ness to what this is entailing. At one point this was supposed to be a movie, so it would have been much more quick and fast paced, and things would have worked much more quickly. But since you have 9 episodes or 8 episodes or whatever it is, you have to kind of spread it out. And I think this is going to be a 1 season and done type of thing. So I'm sure we'll learn later on. But it's similar to like that TV show that Alex Garland did, which was called Devs, which had Nick Offerman and stuff like that in it. It feels a lot like that, where there's a sinister nature of something going on, and what that sinister nature is it starts to slowly unravel as the episodes go on. And that's what happened in Devs, where you first start slowly learning that it is a telling device, that it actually can see the future, it can tell the past, all that good stuff. I'm not saying that's what this series is doing at Dark Matter. I'm just saying like it has that feel to it, where there's something that this box does that is not entirely explained, and there's stuff that Jason 1 knows about it, but Jason 2 is hiding most of the information. So we'll see, hopefully by episode 4, what exactly this hallway entails, what it creates, and how they're going to get out of it. Like, is there like multiple doors? Is there, portals? You really don't know. It's just a long hallway that looks something like straight out of Hellraiser or something like that. So, but anyways, I think it's a quality episode. I think it's a well produced, slickly done episode. It does what it needs to do. It gives us much more information. It doesn't tail us behind, and I think that's a win, to be fairly honest. I really do. I think that it justifies a decent episode, to be fairly honest. So with that said, to kind of close this out for my score and closing thoughts, I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It is a little confusing, but I will go along with it because it has caught my attention and I think it works. And so therefore I'll give it this episode a 8.75 out of 10 or something like that. A score of 8.75 out of 10. I think the stuff with Jason 2 it needs to kind of move forward. It needs to do something more than integrating himself into his it's like the sixth day or something like that. Where he like the clone integrates or the original integrates. It just needs something more. That's all I asked for it. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see what happens next in episode 4, which comes next week. But without further ado, thank you so much for watching. That is my take on season 1 or episode 3 of Apple TV Plus' original series Dark Matter, which is called The Box. So there you go. Comments below, as I always say, let me know what you think of the episode. What do you think is going to happen? If you know what's going to happen, please don't spoil it, because I do want to kind of stick with the TV series and then eventually go back to the book, see what's kind of different. So yeah, please don't spoil. So anyways, without further ado, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's going to be next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.